I've done a lot of videos before about the Simplified Planner and how I use it on a day-to-day basis, but I've never done a video before about how I set up for the entire year. This video is about how I set up a planner at the beginning of every single year, and hopefully you can pull some tips and tricks and strategies to set up whatever planner it is that you want to use to get through the year. Hey guys, welcome back to an episode here on the Ashlyn Writes channel. My name is Ashlyn and I am a conversion copywriter for creative entrepreneurs just like you, which means I love to nerd out a little bit when it comes to words and see if we can figure out how they can help you work from a place of a little more rest and a little less hustle as they turn heads and get you sales in your business. I also love to talk about efficiency and productivity over here, along with tools of the trade that have helped me figure things out on my own. And a big one for me has been the Simplified Planner here for a few years. Now, last week I did a video taking you behind the scenes of a 2019 set of power sheets and how I get those set up at the beginning of every single year. I've also done a video about how I integrate my Simplified Planner with my power sheets, so I'll link that below for you as well. But in this video, mostly I'll be covering what's inside one of these and how I do annual prep for my Simplified Planner. As we get going, let me know, chime in below, what kind of planner do you use? Are you all digital? Are you analog and digital? That's kind of how I am. Or do you just use paper products only? I think it's so interesting to see how different people plan and organize their lives. Also, when you look below, you can find the link to a quiz where you can figure out what kind of Simplified Planner is right for your lifestyle. So be sure to look out for that as well. Okay, let's talk about figuring out how to set up your annual planner for the year with a behind the scenes tour and peek of the one that I use, the Simplified Planner from Emily Ley. Now, obviously, step one to setting up your planner is picking the right one for you. When it comes to me, I like this daily one from Emily Ley. I get asked a lot about which one I use from the Simplified collection. I kind of need a lot of space, so I prefer the daily planner. This is the primary planner that I use for both home and business, so I don't really separate them. Now, again, as I've explained in some videos, I use a hybrid system. So I also use a Google Calendar that allows me to integrate with both my team so they can see what's going on, and my husband. We have a shared Google Calendar specifically because his work schedule is not 9 to 5, so that's really helpful. And when it comes to goal setting, I use that Power Sheets tool that I mentioned earlier. Again, I will link all of these resources to videos below. I know that it's kind of a process to see how everything fits all together. So hopefully you can see that when you watch some of those other videos. Now, I have come to like this type of planner that's all already bound rather than a binder type where I can add pages. It just keeps it a little more streamlined for me. Now, there are daily and weekly planners within this Simplified collection. Like I said earlier too, the Simplified team has that quiz that you can take if you can't quite figure out which one you like. But the idea here is to customize a planner that fits your life. I also love the fun accessories that you can get along with it. There's always some stickers right up here in the front. I use stickers from the Cultivate What Matters team as well. I'll get into more of that in just a sec. But what I want you to take away here is I just try to make it fun and messy. I may be type A, but my planners definitely don't look it and they are not pristine. The first thing I do when I get a new planner to kick off the new year is set up some time for the prep work, which I usually do on a cozy night in December, pour a cup of tea and sit down with my new planner. I remember watching my mom actually do this when I was a little girl. When she would get her new planner, she was a teacher, so this was definitely something that was part of her life, but I kind of adopted that from her. Now, if you've watched that Power Sheets video, you know I also do a prep week for Power Sheets. I typically go ahead and do these in tandem, so I'll do them right there beside each other. Why complicate things? So let's look at what that prep work looks like. Here are those pages. Now, this is pretty much kind of a new thing that the Simplified team has been adding. I have both a morning and evening routine for life, and I also have one for business. A wind up and a wind down routine. My students inside Art of Efficiency know those like the back of their hand probably, but I can put them in here and I really like that. So they used to be cards on my desk, but now I have them in here. Emily's also led this Simplified challenge the past few years on Instagram, which has been super fun. So you'll find the whole list here so you can catch up and work through those as well. I also took my time stewardship vision statement here. This is again something that I teach inside my Art of Efficiency program and just a way that I keep the main thing the main thing. It's a declaration over how I'm gonna look at my time. I also keep a weekly dream week folded up and in this pocket. The next step I have in setting up my planner every single year is going through and marking anniversaries and birthdays as well as really important dates that do not change. I tend to save things that are probably going to change for pencil or just when I get to that month itself. In the past, I've also printed out a perpetual calendar planner and taped that inside, it really just works best for me to go ahead and keep it all in one centralized location, so that's what I do. Next up, I think through any trips or vacations that are already set in stone, and I start adding those to the planner. Okay, at this point, you have done any prep work and you've added all of the dates into your calendar that are not gonna change, that are locked and loaded and set in stone. So at this point, I'll move on to things like appointments or schedules, things that are a little more in flux. Again, this is something I tend to address more on a weekly level, so go watch that video of my weekly setup so you can see exactly how my weekly planning routine works, how I set my big three, and then how I move those into my planner. When it comes to writing tools specifically in my planner, I don't really go crazy with color coding. I have in the past, and it just wasn't a super sustainable system. I do make sure that birthdays and anniversaries I write in a different pen color, otherwise I will completely miss them. But everything else I tend to write just in black. The last step of the puzzle, like I said, is committing to those monthly and weekly check-ins. So a big part of integrating your system as far as goal setting and your planner, I believe, is having a committed system in place for having monthly and weekly check-ins. Let's zero down a little bit and look at what a month spread looks like and what a week spread looks like. Within these tabs, you will find a full spread of each month to month. Typically down here in this notes section, I will write things like fun seasonal tasks that I can do. And then when you look at a week, you can see now why I really like the daily. There's just so much room, but it's just enough room. So on this to-do list portion, if I can't fit it, if that to-do list gets full, then it doesn't belong. Like, I can't get it done. There's too much already there. And so that's a good reminder for me as well. Again, I mentioned it in that other video, but here hopefully you can see too, I put down my big three and I break them down into 3 things every single day. And then from the bottom up, I put any tasks that kind of have more to do with home and life than business. For the weekends, one thing I've always liked is being able to mark down that happy memory from the week. Just kind of as a keepsake moment. I hope that gives you a good tour of what is inside a simplified planner, like I've told the students inside my Art of Efficiency program. When it comes to picking a project management tool, a planner, a goal setting tool, whatever it is for you, the secret is to pick one that comes close enough and dive in with 2 feet. Don't dip your baby toe in, but jump in, get your hair wet. That's the only way you're really gonna actually make any kind of goal setting or planning system work for you. I hope that this video and last week's video where I talked through Power Sheets, annual setup, and what a 2019 packet looked like help you out a little bit. I talk about these tools all the time, but again, sometimes it's really just helpful to see what they look like inside and how you could do an annual setup on your own. If you found this video helpful, give it that thumbs up, and I'll see you back next week with an all new video.